But that's why we have Julia back. And I'm really, really delighted that Julia Furlan, you've come back and you're co-hosting with us again today, and thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I am too. And we have other guests coming up. The founder of Creative Tech Week. We're going to do a demo of a neat WAM City Lights thing. And we're going to talk about the DLD conference that occurred in New York this week. And that's the beginning. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's start. Let's get into it.
So since we're about New York tech, the kind of big news this week was that a bunch of companies and VCs launched totNYC.
Yeah.
And not exactly sure what it is yet, because the homepage is a little bit, but it's a stellar bunch trying to, I think it's more like a trade association, to push the wonders of New York tech.
Yeah, and it's a nonprofit that is working with tech, which is something that like a lot of urban spaces have a lot of nonprofit presence, and so it feels like very much like in the New York spirit to have a nonprofit that's geared towards like, what did it say? It was going to increase high-speed internet and creating access to computer science programs and privacy and data security, which, okay, I'm interested. What's going on,
Right.
Yeah, I think it's sort of, at the launch of anything, it remains to be seen like how exactly it's going to fit into the larger landscape.
So the companies are amazing. The founding members are AOL, Bloomberg, Facebook, Google, and Union Square Ventures. Fred Wilson wrote about it. Then a whole bunch of other companies, Bitly, Civic Hall, Etsy, eBay, Meetup, Snapchat. Is BuzzFeed here?
Twitter? No, I'm trying to see him. Like I don't see BuzzFeed there.
Foursquare.
But Twitter.
I guess BuzzFeed is an LA company now. It's gone Hollywood.
Oh my God.
Uber, Twitter, I said that. The Skim, Thrive Capital. So it's a really good bunch. Tim Armstrong from AOL was at the forefront of it, as again was Fred Wilson, Rachel Hote, who's great, former chief digital officer of the city and the state.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted about this. We're going to try to get the executive director in on a future show as soon as we can. And talk more about it. But I think it's really important to push what we do in New York.
I think so too, and I think that the way that tech fits into our lives as New Yorkers is it's very unique, and it's a big urban space where you can really experiment with like how these things are going to work. In other places, to install, for example, high-speed internet, or to like take a larger data initiative, everybody will be so much more spread out. It's a completely different infrastructure. And the fact that there are so many people living all on top of each other makes it like a really ripe place to, try large, launch large things and say, hey, no, we have the interests of our city coming first, Yeah, I like that.
And Andrew Roche, who's a friend of the schools here, who's at Civic Space and PDF, I think was involved in this as well, and also has been pushing for things like broadband in the city. We should be far more advanced than we are now. We're starting to get our neat little things on the street coming in.
Yeah, I know.
Looking at these the old phone booths are becoming access points. Though I don't really see the idea of staying on the street. Enjoying the high bandwidth. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I think that it's about access, and so it's about like everyone being able to access it, and the street is where everybody is going in between where they're going. So I feel like the subway would be a really like the subway points are great.
When I'm in Europe, I'm so jealous. You can be on the train the whole time.
But De Blasio is a really Bill De Blasio, the mayor, is like so invested in high-speed internet.
Yeah.
As well. So like I can imagine that he must be somehow. I mean, I have no idea if he's like actually involved, but like I know that that's something that the de Blasio administration has also been pushing, which is really high-speed internet access for everyone.
So I moderated a panel at the DLD conference, which we'll talk about later on the show today. Digital Life Design, I think it stands for. Berta, the big German publisher, does it. So it was about investment in Germany. And trying to move American companies over to Germany. But what was interesting was Ellie Wheeler from Greycroft was there. And as much as an American, I get all haughty about how we're so much better than Europe at understanding investment and investing in things and taking risk, because we understand risk and all that macho.
You are a snob.
But then Ellie said, well, as she was describing the state of New York, it sounded similar in a way to Europe. Because I said, what does Europe really need to get going in tech? And they said, exits. We haven't had enough exits. We haven't had enough successful exits in New York. We've had a few, but not many. Or in Europe, they were saying. And then the same is true in New York, where we really haven't had that many yet. And okay, they're the experts, they're the investors. I kind of buy that, but I don't know if that makes any sense to me, because it's not as if the exits all cluster together. If you have a really successful company, you can invest in it.
I mean, one of my biggest questions is like, how much does the failure of a startup, or the success or failure of a startup, especially if we're talking about the internet, a product of its environment physically in the world, you know what I mean? Like, how does that come together? And I think that, in Europe, people have different traditions, different, like the internet fits differently, and like startups fit differently into their lives. And one thing, they have like a lot more government bureaucracy.
Amen.
And so and they trust it, it's a different way, it's a different system. They have, nationalized healthcare and all of these things that like are part of the daily life that make it so that people don't necessarily need startups in the same way that they do, necessarily. I think that, I don't know.
Yeah, so if New York is going to be what we want it to be, if we want it to be successful as startups, if dotNYC really does support it, the question that I couldn't get answered in my panel, I was a bad moderator, as I prove here every show.
Agree.
Hey, yo. I don't get a satisfactory answer to what is it we need to become successful. Exits is not satisfactory because that's a chicken and egg question.
Right.
Oh, gee.
Right.
We'll know we're successful when we're successful.
Yes, exactly.
So that's kind of dumb. Obviously, technology talent, but there is a lot of technology talent in New York.
Tons, yeah.
I think the opportunities to work with other industries here are huge. Maybe that's what drags them down. Reid Hoffman, who helped fund the program in social journalism that I teach in here, thank you, Reid, argues that if software can solve the problem, Silicon Valley is the place where it happens, period. So maybe what we need is a different specialization. Maybe we need to be something different in New York than just a software culture.
But how could you choose that? Like, how could you choose the thing that is going to be the industry? Hollywood is the industry. When you're in LA and people say the industry, you know what they're talking about. Same with Silicon Valley. If you're talking, if somebody in New York says, I'm in the industry, it means nothing. It's like,
banking.
Which one? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably where we'll see things starting. And there's like lots of, it's a very similar like culture, the like bro-fest.
Yeah.
I know. I talk about that a lot. But there is a lot of opportunity. There's certainly a lot that could happen. And, anytime a bunch of tech companies come together to do something, it shows that they are investing in a larger community outside of just their company. And the competition between tech startups is often detrimental to the way, to this kind of thing where we say like, okay, so what are we going to do to be good to our community and our city and improve for everyone? And I think that that's a really good first step. I don't know.
The other thing I think that New York, we talked about this a little last week on number 2, was diversity around women in tech. But I think it's also true. There's diversity in general. At DLD, there was also a panel about that need.
Oh God, diversity panels. It's like it's like
a law
thing now. Yeah.
But of course, there was no African American on the panel.
Are you kidding me?
Well, there were other voices there. But this is the issue. How much is involved in the VC community? It's about venture capital. So that's the root core issue here. It goes back farther than putting together a panel.
Oh, of course.
Who's involved, who's there.
Right.
If I think around the venture capital scene that I see,
it's a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah, it is. So,
yeah.
It's getting a little better on gender. The joke is it's also good on age because Howard Morgan from First Round, who's I think older than I am, and Alan Patrikoff, who's 80-something, from Graycroft. Really, it's amazing if you find the older and the younger there. But I think that what New York can always contribute is a diversity of background and worldview.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've got to bring to
Well,
this.
I mean, it's one of the most diverse places in the world, and like Americans tend to consider America the only thing that exists, and
Well.
New York. Ugh, oh my God, Captain America over here.
Yeah.
But New York is a place where you can't do that because there are so many different kinds of people in New York City. There are so many immigrant communities. There are so many different kinds of people that, you have to think beyond that very narrow view.
But you have to work at it too. One of our greatest strengths of the J School where we are at CUNY is the diversity we have. And it matters greatly, but you've got to work at it. You got to bring people in. You've got to try to find people and recruit people. And
I mean, it's 2016.
Yep.
This should not be a thing.
Amen. Amen. All right. So for other news, so I wrote a book about privacy and publicness, and I defend publicness. And yes, privacy is important. But I sigh when I get stories like this, the techno panic. So we have, if you're not from New York, you don't know that every Saturday or Sunday, if you sit down to dinner and happen to turn on the TV news, you are guaranteed, I mean guaranteed, as sure as there's junk in the East River, that Senator Schumer will have a press conference. Because he plays the media like crazy. He knows there's no other news, and they will come out like lemmings, and they will put their mics in front of him, and he'll have another friggin' press conference. Every single weekend without fail. So this weekend, he had one urging the FTC to probe the use of spying billboards.
Oh my God, look at
Oh no. So this whole idea that billboards are spying on you because they use cell phone technology to track unsuspecting consumers. And you're free to disagree with me here, but I think
pissed about the billboards, homie?
It's so loaded.
Have you used the internet?
Yeah. What, do you carry your phone with you? It knows everything about
your
you.
Phone, I mean, he's pissed. I think that this is a clear, it's the kind of thing that everybody can be like, oh, it's like Minority Report. The end of the world is coming. Let's panic. But if people are okay, fine, spying billboards. The brands are using us. They own a lot of our information. They're buying our information. We have very little control. Very important things to consider.
And I, for one, am fine with my new masters.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Oh my God,
yes,
you're a slave to capitalism. Anyway, I mean, the thing about it is that it's not about the billboards. It's about all of the other stuff that is connected to it. And the billboards are really not really that big a deal, I assume.
Yeah, so I haven't heard any big furor about, oh my God, billboards are spying.
No, I haven't either. And it seems like the kind of thing that you can really grab a headline with, but it's not it'll fade away.
One of my other
quickly.
favorite tidbits from I think 2 weeks ago was that Foursquare, location company that it is, predicted, this wasn't hard to do, but predicted Chipotle's fall in revenue because they know where you're going.
Okay.
So I've been doing something lately. Google has Google Surveys, and you can sign up for Google Surveys. Anybody can, and then you'll get asked questions. Company will spend money, and they'll pay you a little bit, and I can use it on my Google Play.
How are you okay? Why are you doing this?
To learn. No, actually, no. We pay very little here.
I have a side gig as a
every
surveyist.
dime I can from Google. Yes, I'm in the pay of Google. I got 10 cents this morning.
It's because you didn't pass the test to get hired, right? Just kidding.
I can't even get into the test session. I'm too old.
Oh man. All right. So sorry.
What do I have to do? Write
Google
a second
surveys?
book to Google and at least get a job interview? So Google Surveys. It asks you kinds of questions about do you use this product or that product. But what we're doing lately is it'll say to me, is it okay with you if we're going to ask you a question based on where you've been lately?
Oh.
So it'll then list 6 companies, and it knows that I was at Barnes & Noble, and it asks me when I was there, and I say when I was there, and then it just gives me 10 cents for that.
It's creeping on you, man.
Well, it's verifying that it's using this to verify that it's geo software. Isn't it good, right? And it is. It's amazing. It knows exactly when I was where, and that data is valuable. I've seen some other software out there that can analyze cameras from the street to see how many people see a billboard and then go into the store or don't go into the store.
I mean,
it's data. It's data. It's information. It's
data.
Knowledge.
I think I'm a little bit more. I try and be a little bit wary of how my data is being used and who is using it and how, it creeps me out. It creeps me out a little bit, especially because brands are so terribly annoying. They're like categorically really bad at doing anything interesting with data. They just want you to buy more stuff. If they wanted to encourage other things that are like slightly more, maybe slightly more constructive or creative, I would be interested in that. But all they want is my money so that I can go and spend it. And I, as a Park Slope Food Co-op card-carrying member, fight the power, you know? I'm a little bit creeped out by it. But yeah, I mean, it's not the billboards, it's just data.
Well, it's also the bad software. The programmatic and retargeting ads. You go to look for boots on Amazon, and those boots follow you around for 6 months.
I know.
Long after you bought the boots. So
Yeah.
it's just stupid advertising.
Yeah.
At DLD once again, Purnima Kochikar, I think her name is, the head of Google Play, was there.
Oh.
And she quoted Larry Page as saying that he sees a web that goes from a web. Right now we're in a web based on intent. Then it goes to a web that is based on assisting you, and then a web that's based on suggesting to you because it knows you so well.
But it's already suggesting,
It's already,
no?
that's
Okay.
what he's doing,
Oh,
right?
I see.
And then my friend Dave Morgan, who runs has run a couple of ad companies here in New York, on Twitter, responded and said, I think the next stage is it goes to persuading you. But then I argue that the next stage, the next stage, Valhalla
Next.
is when the company asks you. And when that influences what the company makes.
Oh,
We're still at the point where this is all
crowdsourcing.
this is all still a mass production marketplace where this is what we already make. We make a lot of it, now we got to sell a lot of it. And so we're going to persuade you to buy it.
Yeah.
And as opposed to saying we're going to listen to you and make new products and make new services based on what we learn are your needs.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where being heard, being listened is not being surveilled, but is being given respect, then I think we get somewhere.
That is probably the best argument for that I've heard. I mean, yes, I agree. Amazon, but like, to be fair, Amazon, a big company like Amazon, they're not necessarily, they're suggesting other things to you, but they're also just like, I mean, they're not making things per se at all, but the thing appears.
Yes.
The thing that you might need.
I actually think Amazon could be a lot better.
Yeah?
You know, I go in and look at the recommendations books, not that they make.
They're like, you bought a vacuum. Here are 50 vacuums.
Yeah, they're not that smart.
Yeah.
You know, I wish they knew me better.
You did?
Maybe I need Alexa.
Are you calling them? Are you? Yeah, Alexa. You should talk to Alexa.
Do you have one?
No. God, no.
My
Absolutely
family
not.
would shoot me
My
for doing
favorite thing, though, was the NPR story about how they did a story on Alexa, and then it started giving commands to the Alexas because they were listening to it.
Actually, we're going to get in big trouble right now because we've said it too often. Because on the Twit network, if you say something like, oh, I don't know, okay, Google, you piss off everybody in the world because it launches phones everywhere. All right, speaking of respect, I'm a little hesitant to bring this up, but I will. I went through a bit of a kerfuffle in the last week personally.
I know.
And I asked your advice on this.
My advice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for you.
As your sage
already.
advice.
Oh God.
So I don't want to spend much time on this, but
Okay.
but just because I guess not dealing with it would be bad too.
Right,
And I talked about it on
definitely.
Twig. So I've had a tormentor, imposter for 4 years and 40,000 tweets who uses something that looks like my name.
40,000 tweets is a lot of tweets.
It's a
That's
lot
more
of-
tweets than I've ever tweeted.
That's an obsession.
Yeah.
So this guy has been doing this. He's been fooling people. Again, it's a satire. I get that. I understand, folks. I get it. And I don't think it's very funny, but that's taste. Then a piece ran in Esquire that appeared under that name, which is Professor Jeff Jarvis,
byline,
which happens to be also my name, and gave no indication at all that it was a satire. It was about a really stupid Jim Vanderhei op-ed in the Wall Street Journal proposing that Mark Zuckerberg run for president, which was a self-parody if there ever was one. So parodying a self-parody is like a double negative. So this piece was ridiculous. Only if you scroll to the very, 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 very bottom of the page, underneath all the damn Taboola ads and all that crap, you saw some tags and it had the word satire there.
Oh, yeah, you said that in the Medium
And if
piece.
you look at the very bottom of the piece in the ital, it said not at Jeff Jarvis, as if somebody's going to know which one's which. So
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. My
Gesundheit,
allergies are
allergies.
really bad.
you're allergic to me.
Yes, I'm allergic to...
So what happened was I freaked out.
yeah.
And I said on Twitter, and I could get a little berserk on Twitter. I hadn't been drinking, but I got a little berserk on Twitter, and I said, take it down. And it went around and around and around, and they tried to suggest a fix that said, Professor Jeff Jarvis is a satirical account. Well, if everybody knows that's my name, then that doesn't help. So I
Right.
said, ugh, they took it down.
Wait, you're saying Esquire took the
took
piece
it
down,
Esquire
not
took the piece
Twitter
down. No, Esquire took
deactivated
the piece
the
down.
account. Okay.
So the account was
That's-
violating terms of
Twitter's-
service, but I never went after it because I knew the crap that would fall upon me if I did. So this is where the advice comes in. I now regret asking to take it down.
Because it made a bigger thing of it.
Well, no, it's I'm a absolutist pretty much when it comes to the First Amendment. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment. First Amendment's about government's behavior.
Right.
But if I'm going to argue on behalf of free speech, then it doesn't help my argument.
Right.
Now, indeed, I don't. So if Esquire had chosen to take it down of their own will and volition without me asking, I'd be fine with that because it was their choice. And in fact, part of free speech is also protecting editorial prerogative. An editor should have the responsibility to take something down that's irresponsibly done.
Which is important. And it's an important way. Like, journalism gets better when editors can say, like, oh, we messed up. Let's, like, try this differently. Like, that is important. We're all about tech. What is there? A/B testing, learning, improving, all of that stuff.
Right.
But okay.
So then to end, I didn't
I
want to go on
know
this
it's
long.
okay.
So then the tormentor had agreed 2 years ago to change the name, and he didn't. He agreed again to change the name
Twitter.
on Twitter. He finally did Sunday night. He added one S to the name. A better definition of disingenuous I cannot imagine. So here's the advice I need. So, and I've just kind of done it here, but frankly, we don't have much of an audience yet, so it's just kind of between us. As happens with trolls, the next squirrel comes along. Squirrel! Right? And so they go to the next thing. So I was getting tormented horribly by people who don't like me anyway, and all the people who don't like me came out for about 2 or 3 days, and then they disappeared. Then they got to the next squirrel.
Yeah.
But I also kind of want to be on the record saying, okay, so yeah, I regret having asked to take it down. If I put that up,
It's going to come back.
that's the problem. So what do I do?
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
You're having a lot of feelings, which as a woman on the internet, I have a lot of feelings a lot of the time. You're a public individual. You're somebody
Barely.
who has
Debbie.
like a lot of, but like you have interactions on the internet regularly, and I'm sure that this isn't the first time that you've been trolled or tormented, and you say tormented has been happening for a long time. I think that this is an important moment for you, and you're hurt by it, and you're upset. I think that the lesson that I as a woman have learned over and over again about the internet is like, you can't feed the trolls.
Right.
And
Amen.
that is,
Amen.
oh God, I know it's a cliche, but it's like literally the best rule that anyone can follow, and you should not touch it. Just walk away from it. You need to stop having your public feelings about it and deal with your feelings privately.
Ooh.
And
Who knew
let
you'd
it
get
die.
therapy on this show, too?
It's true,
This is
though,
good.
because Twitter is garbage at dealing with this
Yeah.
stuff, and you're getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like.
Oh, and
they have
many people have it a million times worse than I do.
exactly.
I'm going to make that clear.
Exactly. So take a moment, check your privilege, realize what you're doing, and I think you should just step back from it.
Okay, but here's the thing that really disturbs me in the end. And again, this is so minor, so just a gnat biting the butt. It's nothing, right? I know that. People go through true harassment, true awful trolling. And I got tons of, the two things that irritate me most. One is everybody's a comedian, so they all have the same joke. They all did a tweet to my imposter saying that I was the imposter. All right. The second thing was I got tons of lectures on the Streisand effect. If you talk about it, that's going to happen. And then, of course, via the trolls. But what this means is that the trolls always and inevitably win.
No.
Because if we can't respond, if we can't do anything, if we can't talk about it, if we can't point to it, if we can't ask for better behavior, then they get away with it forever, don't they?
It's like that's you're assuming that winning is them being able to just continue to say whatever they want. And I think that you're really morally upset, which is totally right. It's right to feel morally offended about this. But I think that they're not winning. They're gonna exist. It's a weird public forum. There are gonna be all kinds of idiots in it. And to a certain extent, it's on Twitter to fix the problems that they have, with supporting, basically just like openly allowing harassment to happen constantly and perpetually and really like not dealing with that. And I think that we have to trust that when the spotlight's not on us, it's better for us. And that I think is like something that you could take into the future.
So is this a little generational? And I ask that because when I spoke about this with my students in social journalism, the issue of racial harassment came up and bigotry. And some of the students in the class said basically that when Twitter enables the racists to come out, that's a fine thing. Now you can see it, it's there, you point to it, and no, you can't do anything about it. And I say, can't we go for civility? And they say we never had civility. That this is the nature of the world, this is the way the world is. Whew. Man, as an optimist to a fault, that depressed me. Because it was a surrender to a worldview and that maybe much more mature and smarter and more realistic than the one I have. But I come from a time of thinking that optimism was the goal. And I'm not saying it wasn't so much pessimistic as it was just fatalistic. To say, yeah, there's a lot of bozos in the world and they're out there and you can't do anything about them, so let them be.
Well, okay, here's an optimist. I'm also like a very, very big optimist. An optimist's view of that is like, first of all, like, it's not better that people are being openly racist. That's never better. It's not good.
Yes.
But the optimism that I see is something that Anil Dash talks about a lot, and he thinks about a lot, and he's wonderful at thinking and talking about it. That basically, we should make it better. We should make the tech better so that the communities improve. And, like comment sections, for example, comment sections on articles, they are known cesspools of place. How, does every place need to have a comment section? That's a question.
So there's where I'll be depressed
again,
right? So I adore the open web. I want the open web. I want the open internet. I want it to be without restriction in its architecture. Right. Well, the substantiation of that we see is that Twitter is more open than Facebook.
Right.
And Facebook is feeling a lot more friendly to me these days.
Right. But it's so boring. I find Facebook so boring because of that. Because not that I want to see but the best things about Facebook are the closed groups where people of a similar community are going back and forth and feeling safe within their community. And there's arguments and all of that stuff. That is the kind of thing that I think is genuinely good.
Right.
I do think that the feeling, you should remember this feeling of being harassed and feeling downtrodden and sort of dragged through the mud, and you can't do the regular stuff because all of this other crap is layered on top because you have to deal with tweets that are making you really, really angry. And I think that happens to a lot of people all the time, and I don't know what the solution is, but you should take this feeling and remember it and not do anything about it. I think that's the only way to make it go away.
That was really, really good advice. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. That was great.
Thanks, Jeff.
But I'm depressed.
Oh, no, you're
There's
pissed.
nothing to do.
You're pissed, and that makes sense.
Well, one more political note, which normally gets me in trouble with the Twitter audience, but I hope this one is. We now face an election with the emperor troll.
Oh my God!
Right?
Wait! Oh God!
And I was going to bring my Hillary hat down today,
no.
but Donald Trump is the ultimate troll, right? No. That's his behavior is I will troll people.
I know.
And the response. So Hillary Clinton has to now. I'm a Hillary fan, so yes, I think Hillary is the nominee. Sorry, Bernieites. Has to make the same judgment about how to respond, and. The deck is stacked in favor of the trolls.
I know.
One just won the Republican nomination.
I know. I have never. Oh, I'm so upset. He's not a troll. He's racist and openly sexist and
so are many
garbage
trolls.
person. True, but this guy. Troll doesn't even begin.
No.
Doesn't even begin.
No.
Anyway,
No.
Garbage person is maybe.
And we're sorry, New York brought him to you. It's a show about New York, and he's our fault, including his taco bowl.
Oh my God, that taco bowl stuff. Ugh. This man, oh my God. He's the worst. He's just, I'm sorry. You know how you feel about this whole Professor Jeff Jarvis stuff? That is like, I am hopping mad. And it is not late enough in the day for me to be this pissed about Donald Trump.
There's a clear and present danger, folks. A clear and present. All right.